All right, we got a chicken update, and there's a lot to update. So we got a coop built. We got a coop built. Hey guys, hey guys, hey guys. You gotta let me get over the fence. Yeah, you gotta let me get over the fence. All right. Well, it looks like the chickens they're having fun. We installed this coop yesterday, and they spent the night in it last night. Um, Probably wasn't the best first night to spend in it because it went from warm to rainy and cold, which is not something I realized until I put them out here. But it's hell collecting them. So they seemed warm enough last night. I tried to add some blankets, some old towels in there to see if they would use those to stay warm, but they didn't. We got the light in there. They all kind of perched next to each other. I was feeling them today. Their body heat is they seem warm. This is probably a week and a half early before they recommend putting them out, but they're stinking up the place, so they're out here now, and it's a cool 45. So it's probably a little cold for them, but they don't seem too bothered by it. But I did realize I started out this thing and I just I stopped picking my feet. I put some cardboard, so I have an open floor here of chicken wire fence, and then I put some cardboard in the back to protect against the wind. But last night I was kind of coming out here and I was looking around, and they weren't really behind the wood, and I was thinking, it needs a little bit more insulation here. So what I did is I went to the hardware store today and I got some of this stuff. I'm not really sure what it is. It's like cheap fabric to protect your plants from frost, basically. And I got a roll of that for like 75 bucks. I'm gonna do a double wrap of the whole coop here, and then I got some tarps, and I'm going to wrap at least one run through the bottom section here in tarp. I'm going to leave this with just the cloth up here because I want it to breathe. I want it to breathe a little bit and not absolutely bake in the summer. And maybe I'll revisit that and close that up during the winter. I'm not so sure about that, but honestly, if the chickens weren't crying and too huddled up close to each other last night, which was a cold night. It was like 43 degrees and rainy. The rain's at least not getting in the coop, so the roof is actually doing pretty well here. But if they were relatively fine last night, last night and tonight should be the coldest times that they got actually in the next couple of months. It shouldn't be much colder than this. So I think they all seem pretty happy here, and this one, the rooster here, he loves coming up to me. He's following me around the fence when I'm on the outside. Yeah, you want some treats, don't you? Yeah, this is our rooster right here. Yep, say hi, rooster. We don't have a name for you yet. And then there's Mona 1 through 13, and Kelly. Those are the hens. This one's Kelly, and then that's Mona 7. But I think there's only one rooster, although it's still a little bit too early to tell for sure. It's a little bit too early to tell for sure. Some of these smaller ones might actually be roosters that aren't fully developed yet. Like this one kind of has the tail structure and looks like he might be getting the facial features of a rooster, but he or she's always been about a week behind the development of the rest of them. So we'll see. This other small one actually also might be a rooster. Can't really tell. They're not at all developed enough to really tell for sure. But the one that's for sure a rooster is already developing his red neck, and definitely has a much more noticeable comb than the rest of them. so far, so I'm pretty sure that's a rooster. So I think we got one, and maybe two more. Although I think that they're I do think that they're all hens, which is it's just good. It'd be nice to have one more rooster. One rooster and 13 hens, I think, would have been the, perfect world, perfect combination. But one rooster and 14 hens, I think that's good too. The only reason I want two roosters is because, I want one more in case something happens to them. Because I do want to let them have some chicks next season, and get a few more chickens. So plan maybe even to expand to as many as 30. But we'll deal with that when it comes to that. Over here, we got a electric fence that isn't electrified yet. I got the little power thing for it, but I need to go get a battery apparently to hook it up to, and then I need to create a watertight case. So you put the battery in this thing in a watertight case, and then you set it up next to the fence, and then you connect the ground, and then you electrify it. And I think I probably also need to get some supporting posts. Because obviously we can't have any plants or anything touching the fence or any leaves touching the fence. So in some of these areas where the ground's uneven, I think I'm going to need to take like a plastic post and carefully maybe like take a string and hold up a little bit one section of some of these fence parts to make sure that they're not touching each other or laying across the leaves in one section. Other than that, I think it's all right. I went around with my knife and I cut down the brush and the stuff that was touching on the outside, and that sounds like that in the spring here, that might be a job that happens every few days to keep the foliage off of the fence so it's not shorting itself out. But this fence, this should be my main defense against raccoons. I'm hoping that they get shocked by it and then just go away and aren't really much more determined than that. I think I have a position here where they can't really, like that branch I think is going to be too weak and they'll fall off of it first. I might just take out that branch. And there are some connections with these trees up here. And I'm kind of counting on them not running all the way up there, the raccoons that is. The raccoons. And obviously fox won't. Technically a fox could probably jump this fence if it wanted to. But again, I think, and I've read online that the electricity is quite the deterrent. And they won't try to jump it as a first step. They're going to try to like get under it or something, and they're going to get shocked. So that hopefully will deter them. I got a little bit worried, and I'm going to finish setting up the electric fence today because after I set up the coop and I put them outside, then I started doing some research. And I found out that the chicken wire fence that we surrounded the coop in, this stuff, apparently raccoons, they'll just rip through it. It's apparently not quite a barrier to them, so they're really not protected against raccoons right now. And raccoons seem to be the most dangerous predator to them, actually. Now I don't know how many raccoons are around here. I assume that there are some, but since they're kind of stealthy night animals, it's hard to say. I've never seen them around here, but it's kind of hard to say. It'd be hard to say that they're not here. I doubt it. But we are down a peninsula here. Maybe, with not necessarily a lot of stuff for them to grab down this way. Perhaps they don't come down here a lot. I think that might be the case. But if they find out there's chickens down here, they'll certainly try. And then I guess the only other real option for raccoons is setting up a no-kill trap with some bait in it, and I guess raccoons are gonna go for the easiest stuff first, so they'll get trapped in the trap, and then you're gonna have to kill it. You're gonna have to shoot it. If you're catching raccoons, you're gonna have to shoot them. Is what it looks like to me. Some people talk about relocating them. It sounds like that's not a good idea. Maybe not quite legal. and that they're just going to keep on coming back. Now, some people say that, like, oh, well, shooting them's not going to solve your problem either, because more raccoons are just going to replace them. But I would bet that if you keep on trapping and killing the raccoons, you're going to keep them away. I think that's... I tend to not agree with the people that say that, well, if you kill them, it's not going to work. I think it would. I think it would work. So, I mean, yeah, they will be replaced at some point, but you're not going to have as consistent of a problem if you just trap and kill them. So maybe that's what I'll do. Have to get a 22 and blast them in the cage or something. I got to find out the legality of that situation. But the chickens are more important than a raccoon, so make myself a coonskin cap or something. Right, guys? Right, guys? I'd take out a raccoon. Right now, yeah. Right now, these guys aren't that protected. And then I also got some pie pans that I'm going to tie on string and hang from the trees. And that should deter the ravens and the hawks. But actually, these guys are getting big enough where the ravens shouldn't be a problem for much longer. And because ravens aren't a problem with full-grown chickens. And apparently having ravens around, or crows around, is a good thing, because they're very territorial against hawks and eagles. And they live in a tree. The ravens live in a tree up over there, and they're very territorial about this space. So they should keep the hawks and the eagles out, which is actually a good thing. They just have to watch out right now that they might see one of these little guys as an easy little meal or something, you know? They're still a little bit tiny. They're getting bigger, but they're still kind of small. I don't know how much they weigh, but they can't be that much. Maybe like a pound or two. They're supposed to be like 11 or 13 pounds. I don't think they're going to be full size for a while, though. I think it's going to be a couple more weeks for sure. They've grown a lot in like 4.5 weeks so far, though. Well, I guess it's been a month. It's been 4 weeks. So they're out here 2 weeks early, but they seem relatively happy. We're gonna get this thing wrapped. It's gonna be warmer. Gonna be less breeze. I think it'll be good for them. So I'm gonna do another video after I get this all set up, and that's it for that.